and welcome to this week's SAP Business One Channel Partner Podcast, albeit a little bit late. It was a pretty busy week last week, which culminated with a presentation that I had the pleasure of doing, taking you as SAP channel partners as well as SAP Business One customers through the SAP Business One product roadmap for 2011 through to 2014, and to a certain extent beyond that with the SAP Business One release family 9.x coverage that we provided in the roadmap. So what I want to do in today's podcast is talk about a couple of things which are quite important at this time of the year as you're really starting to head towards the end of the first quarter and take stock of where you are in terms of the goals that you set for yourself at the start of the year. And the first one of those is really the whole discussion about business planning. So no doubt you remember that business planning is an important and a core part of what we do in the SAP Partner Edge program. But I'd like to ask you to maybe take some time to think about the business plan numbers that you put in when you sat down with your SAP channel manager and talked about what you wanted to achieve this year. So sometimes business planning, for some people, kind of becomes a little bit of a compliance exercise. You know, the program says we've got to do it, so we sit down and we come up with some numbers and we put those in. But really the value of business planning is in what goes on before those numbers end up into the Partner Edge system. You know, that's the thinking that you do about where do you want to be this year? What do you want to achieve in your SAP Business One business? And, you know, how are you going to get there? You know, what are the, you know, how many new customers do you want to add this year? What industries do you want to focus on? What are you going to do internally with your team to help them get to the point that you need the business to be when you sit down at the beginning, or rather at the end of 2011, and say, okay, what did we set out to do this year and how did we achieve it? Now, the great thing about business planning, of course, is it's not something which you just do once and then forget about it for the rest of the year. Obviously, with the Channel Partner Program, we have regular quarterly reviews, but the purpose of the quarterly review is to give you an opportunity to take stock of what you put in originally, think about where you are, determine were those things realistic, and almost, if you like, start to think about, do I need to adjust my path to get to where I need to be? Now, a number of channel partners I speak to, they kind of say, well, you know, that's all great and I understand that, but I'd really like a process or a structure to help me do that business planning review and manage my business planning going forward. So one of the things that I would like to encourage you to do is to check out a particular tool that I like to use when it comes to business planning. And that's a piece of software from Palo Alto Software, and it's called Business Plan Pro. So go out and have a look at the Palo Alto Software site and take a look at the at that particular software package. A number of SAP Business One channel partners are already using that software because they received it as part of our Channel Excellence program back in 2008. And certainly it's something that I've been using for quite some time. But why is it a good tool to use? Well, it's a good tool to use because it walks you through step by step what you need to do to really put into place a business plan. Now, for a lot of people, they think of business planning and they think of, wow, it's that traditional big document that you need if you're going to go and ask for funding, or you're going to go out and you're going to, you know, want to go public or something like that. But here's a different approach. One of the people behind Palo Alto Software is a guy called Tim Berry. And Tim's written a really, really good book called The Plan As You Go Business Plan. So I'd encourage you to go out there and check out what Tim talks about in the Plan As You Go business plan. So his philosophy and his theory is really about sitting down and looking at what is the main area in your business that you need some focus. Do you need to work on the sales plan? Do you need to work on the marketing plan? Is there something you need to do internally to look at, you know, what you're doing to help manage your team effectively? Do you need to think about the financial aspects of the business and start spending some more time planning out things like cash flow and your investment plans for the year? So the concept behind Plan As You Go is do the things that are the most important first. So as you're reviewing your business plan, I would encourage you to think about it from that perspective. Where am I today? What is the area that you believe you need to focus on first, and spend your time thinking about that. Now, of course, you can go and you can buy that book. It's a great read. It's not a huge, lengthy tome that's going to take you forever to get through, but you can buy it. You can buy it from Amazon.com, and it's a really great guide to the process. And of course, if you need any help or you'd like somebody to toss some ideas around completely confidentially, of course, you can reach out to me, richard.duffy@sap.com. So the second thing I'd like to talk to you about in today's podcast is something which we launched last year, and that's the SAP Business One License Validation Service. Now, the good news is when we launched the License Validation Service as a service to help you as an SAP Business One partner and your customers make sure that they are compliant with their licensing, we released a tool. Now, the latest version of that tool has now been updated, and it's available for you on the SAP Community Network. So there's a couple of things that I'd like to just bring your attention to, maybe remind you about the License Validation Service and how it can help you. And really, there's fundamentally 4 things that you need to do with the License Validation Service. And the first thing that you need to do is to introduce the license validation to your customers as soon as possible and get that tool installed. After about 4 to 6 weeks of usage, you'll get a thorough assessment of exactly what's been going on with the license usage inside your customer. And then you can give them, your customer that is, a real-life view of exactly how their licenses are being utilized through the report viewer analysis. And you can compare the number of licenses and the way they're using the licenses versus what they've contractually selected to access. So you can then discuss, point number 3, discuss what they need to do to make sure they're meeting the requirements of their SAP Business One licensing agreement, because that's important. Most customers do not want to be in a situation where they're in violation of their license contract. So, the license validation tool is going to help them identify that. And then the 4th point that you need to go through is, to finalize the process of getting the customer sign off on the summary license requirement report, which is going to say, look, this is what you have, this is really what you need, and this is the delta between the two. So what are we going to do to, to get you moving with that and bring you up to compliance? So, a couple of things you need to do. On the Channel Partner Portal right now, one of the top news items on the homepage for SAP Business One this week is a pointer to the License Validation Service page on the Channel Partner Portal. It's got a lot of supporting materials for you as a channel partner, frequently asked questions. There's some customer-facing materials you can access as well, like like a letter template, a customer-facing fact sheet that helps you explain to them why the license validation service is valuable for them and why it's important, as well as I said, frequently asked questions that that you can use to help make sure that your customers understand what they need to do with the license validation service. Final thing that I'd like to do in today's podcast is just remind you once again that coming up in April in Copenhagen, London, in the Netherlands, in a place which the guys keep telling me it's not Amsterdam, Richard. It's not Amsterdam. You've got a fixation on Amsterdam. So it's in a place that they tell me the name is too hard to pronounce, so they just call it Den Bosch, which is where the SAP Netherlands headquarters is. So we'll be running the Marketing Catalyst workshop there. And also Budapest, and later in April, I'll also be heading to Singapore and running a social media training day as well as the SAP Marketing Catalyst workshop. So go out and check out my blog at www.richardduffy.com/blog, and you'll see all of those dates and the registration links for all of those events. You'll find them there on the blog. So again, thank you for watching, and as always, if you've got any questions, if there's anything you'd like me to cover in any one of the SAP Business One podcasts, don't hesitate to drop me a note, contact me via Twitter, via instant messaging. I'm on Skype. My Skype name is Richard Duffy. You can find me, just do a search for Richard Duffy and SAP, and you'll find a way to get in touch with me. So again, have a great upcoming week, and I look forward to talking to you again at the end of next week. Thank you.